waves crashing loud, a steady beat. Palms swaying left, swaying right. Endless blue from day to night. Siren calling, feel the breeze. Taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide. Paradise where dreams reside. Barbecue smoke fills the air. Street stalls glow without a care. Red rice served with love so true. Kelligan shining in the view. Drums pounding in the distance. Dance ignites the night's persistence. Siren calling, feel the breeze. Taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide. Paradise where dreams reside. Tomorrow chants, they rise, they fall. History carved in every wall. Tinian whispers ancient lore. Siren soul forevermore. Siren calling, feel the breeze. Taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide. Paradise where dreams reside. Siren calling, feel the breeze. Taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide. Paradise where dreams reside. Dreams reside. Dreams
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Former Special Prosecutor Jack Smith has been before the House Judiciary Committee for close to 5 hours. He's been defending his investigations into Donald Trump. Smith was looking into allegations Trump conspired to overturn the 2020 presidential election and hoarded classified documents.
Our investigation revealed that Donald Trump was not looking for honest answers about whether there was fraud in the election. He was looking for ways to stay in power. And when people told him things that conflicted with him staying in power, he rejected them.
Committee Chair Jim Jordan says the left has targeted the president for years.
But the left doesn't control we the people. And in spite of the left and the weaponization efforts of Jim Comey, Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, and Jack Smith, we the people saw through it all. And we elected President Trump twice.
Smith says he was ready to go to trial. ICE Executive Associate Director Marcos Charles is urging Minnesotans to stop impeding immigration enforcement so they can get criminals off the street.
Please work with us instead of against us. Please remember the victims whose voices are no longer here to speak for themselves. Please stop creating obstacles to keep Minnesotans safe.
A prominent civil rights attorney and at least 2 other people involved in an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church have been arrested. A lawyer for fired University of Michigan football coach Sharon Moore wants a judge to have home invasion and other charges dismissed. An official says the Trump administration is expanding its ban on foreign aid for groups supporting abortion services to include assistance going to organizations and agencies that promote gender identity, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. More information at apnews.com. This is AP News. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is ripping European allies for what he calls a slow response to Russia's war in his country. Here's the AP's Sagar Magani.
For the former comedic actor,
everyone remembers the great American film Groundhog Day,
where Bill Murray's character relives the same day over and over. Ukrainians are too.
Repeating the same thing for weeks, months, and of course for years.
At the World Economic Forum, Zelensky made the same plea from last year, urging Europe to stand up as a global force. For now,
Europe looks lost.
The criticism came hours after Zelensky talked with President Trump.
The meeting was good. Look, we have a ways to go.
His special envoy was due to meet with Vladimir Putin in Moscow as the U.S. pushes a peace settlement. Sagar Magani, Washington.
I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Fox Sports Update.
Big-time blowout in the NBA Wednesday like never before for one of the oldest basketball franchises.
That's the largest margin of victory in Knicks history. What did you see tonight from your team that we haven't seen enough lately?
A win.
New York Knicks guard Jalen Brunson, named a starter in the NBA All-Star Game for the second year in a row, sat out the fourth quarter last night against the Nets on MSG Networks. The Knicks scored their most lopsided win in team history. That dates to 1946. The Knicks beat the Nets at Madison Square Garden 120-66. 54-point victory for New York, which was up 30 points after three quarters and then took out its starters. The Knicks reserves outscored the Nets in the fourth quarter 32-10. First win in 5 games for New York.
This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Men's college basketball, number 1 ranked Arizona improved to 19-0. The Wildcats waxed Cincinnati 77-51. Big baseball trade. The New York Mets, who just recently signed all-star infielder Bo Bichette away from the Blue Jays and got center fielder Luis Robert Jr. in trade with the White Sox, Wednesday landed two-time all-star starting pitcher Freddie Peralta from the Brewers, who went 17-6 with a 2.70 ERA last season for Milwaukee. The Mets also get pitcher Tobias Myers. The Brewers get 2 of the Mets' top prospects, Brandon Sproat and Jeff Williams. NFL Mike McDaniel fired as head coach of the Miami Dolphins January 8th, 3 days after the regular season, appears to have found his next job as offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Former Dolphins head coach Brian Flores has agreed to remain defensive coordinator for the Vikings. He'll stay in Minnesota unless he lands a head coaching job. Former Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy back in Kansas City. He had been the Bears running backs coach this season. Returns to KC where he had run the Chiefs offense 5 years. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Alarm clock bark, sky still gray, radio clicks on, static haze. Good morning, Marianas, in my face, Brad yelling, wake up, Saipan, no escape. Coffee burns my lip, he laughs in my kitchen. like he knows every bruise that I am in. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Hearts on the harbor, headlines in his hand. Good morning, Marianas. Life from the reef to the ridge. Bread with the weather and a dare on the bridge. Traffic on Beach Road. Kids half dressed. He jokes about rain and unpaid rent. Says call the show, tell me what you regret. Then plays our song like a second chance bet. He says say your name, we say it like a prayer. Through busted speakers we are almost there. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Shacks and condos all sing with the fan. Good morning, Marianas. Old scars, new daylight. Brad talks nonsense, somehow gets it right. Who is this voice in my cracked dashboard? Why does it feel like he is keeping score of every tired island soul dragged out of bed? Every maybe I will make it spinning in my head. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Bad roads, good stories, all part of the plan. Good morning, Marianas. Yeah, shout it again. Brad says you are awake, so start living it then.
Ooh, that'll wake you up. Good morning, Marianas. I'm sitting here, I got the speakers going, jamming out, even though I got headphones in. Good morning. Holy cow, 7:41 here on what day? It's Friday, baby. Friday. It's Friday, baby. It is the end of the week. You made it. You survived a long week. And my gosh, did things get crazy the last couple of days? Like literally since yesterday afternoon, we have been blowing up. All like with every story that came after, bam, 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 every update that came out for those big stories. After everything that happened on Capitol Hill yesterday. Well, big deal. We had more stuff this morning. In fact, we've been in here watching this committee on natural resources, and we're going to be showing you a significant portion of it today because our U.S. Congresswoman Kimberly King-Hines, Guam's U.S. Congressman James Moylan, and American Samoa's U.S. Congresswoman Amata Radowagan were all there. They all gave us some questions. They gave some comments about deep sea mining. They had the folks from Impossible Metals. They had folks from the Metals Company, and they had the guy from The Hangover. No, it's not. He kind of looks like him a little bit. But we're gonna show you some video clips of all of that this morning for sure. In fact, by the way, let's get you a little bit started with the regular rigmarole that we got here in the morning. We got news, sports, and weather together, pal. For the folks watching on Facebook, you guys are a little bit behind this morning. We did get the first news update from the Associated Press already. We had to do a little technical restart over here, but the folks over on YouTube side, they got it. They must be cool today. Anyway, good morning to all you guys who are out here watching with us. We're going to be talking about all this. Marianne Kaliliman, all the way out there in the mainland. Great to see you. Ann Sablon, love seeing you in here. We need to see you guys in here in person. That would be great. Jerge, welcome. Thanks for tuning in all the way from the States as well. Ray Austin, no way, get out. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Again, we're going to be talking about that congressional hearing that just concluded, just before our show started. And I've got clips for you, too. And we're all queued up. We're going to see Amada, Kim, and James, bam, 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 one after another. Good morning, Ricky. Good to see you this morning, my man. Let's tell you a little bit about what's going on. You can see behind me, it's a little bit of a gray day. I left the house in a cloud, and I'm not talking about Jimi Hendrix style. It was literally in a cloud on the Tapachao side, and it is gray today, exactly the way our weathermen and women told us it was going to be from National Weather Service out of Guam. Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day, partly sunny with a high near 86. It's going to be a little windy, gusts as high as 24 miles per hour, and a 30% chance of rain. That's already happening right now. Currently 80 degrees up at the Saipan International Airport, and the humidity at 94%. When you're living in the cloud, that's how it works. What about this weekend? Can we have a whole lot of fun? Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, high near 86. Chance of rain 50%. That's gonna rain. Sunday, chance of rain 40%. It's gonna be cloudy all weekend, but that means, you know, this island's not going to repopulate itself. So have a great rainy weekend, CNMI, and we'll see you guys in October. Going to be a lot of trick-or-treat. Going to be a lot of women going with little pumpkins as their costume, I think, this October. So good job, CNMI. Way to go out there and make that happen. All right. Hey, you don't have to be fancy for a BMW. That's all I'm telling you. All right, let's get to it. We got you a couple of news clips already, got you to know what's happening with the weather, but let's get out there on the roads and let you know what's happening with traffic this morning, because it's out there, and the question is, are you out there driving with everybody else? Because fun fact, you want to make sure that you know what's happening, so let's go down to the roads and take a look. Here we go. Your first look at traffic brought to you by the good folks over there at AK Toyota. AK Toyota giving you a great opportunity to get around in your new Corolla or Tacoma. Well, let's take a look at the old AK intersection. Traffic looks pretty good, even by the intersection that matters, at the place where connections matter. ITNE, everything is looking fine. All right, well, here we go. And over there by the courthouse, there's a little bit of traffic over there, but it's not too bad. In Shirley's and Susupi, as folks making their way to Mount Carmel, for God and Saipan, everything's looking pretty good. Even over there by Hopwood, as the Little Admirals, I know, the Hilly Thai, right? But it's still cool, the Little Admirals. All right, they're looking okay. Tumakin Doy's all right. Let's take a look over at traffic by Guangdong Hardware. And man, everybody wants to go to Guangdong Hardware this morning. Yeah, up and down the hill, left and right on the hill, you name it, there's going to be traffic. So if you're getting close to that intersection, just expect it. It's going to be a little bit slower than you would like as you make your way there. Let's keep going north on Selma Senior Martinez, and everything looks good until you start getting closer to Shell Dandan from the CMM. It is a little bit backed up. It's still not too bad. Just be prepared to have to wait a little bit. Some traffic over there by the college. San Vicente has traffic aplenty over there by the old roundhouse. And I've seen worse. I have definitely seen worse. All right, let's zoom around and check out the backside of the island. Issa Drive looking pretty good. All the way down to Middle Road. When you get down by Chalmapalli Arnold at the base of the hill, things are looking pretty good. How about the new AK? Everything's looking great over there traffic-wise. And you're going to get some traffic over there by a little bit of backup at the intersection, by the tennis courts and the pickleball courts by American Memorial Park, so you are good to go. How about over by the home of the Mallards? You've got some traffic over there in Garapan for sure, down by Hotel Street and everything like that. But where you're going to get a bigger backup is over by JG Sablon Ice and Water. You're going to be able to get through it just fine. You could deal for sure. How about the traffic going through Garapan the other way? They're rerouting people around by the back roads. and getting through just fine. And you can see folks are coming around by the backside over by Taro Sumart. That's where all that traffic is being routed through, and things are moving along just fine. As you make your way down Beach Road and Middle Road, everything is great all the way down to I-T&E, and that's the way you really want it to be. And if you are out there on the roads, what you really want to do is see how cool life would be behind the wheel of your cool new Tacoma or Corolla. And, you know, the folks from AK are ready to make that happen for you. $2,000 down payment assistance and 1 free year of insurance, and not to mention 3 years of free service. How about a Tacoma? Well, that's $3,000 for your down payment, a free tent, and 3 years of service. You can't beat it. And if it's in front of you, you could drive over it if you got a Tacoma, pretty much. And the Corolla, you don't need to, because you're so cool, because you can zip and zap all around it. So there you go. That's your first look at traffic this morning here on the mean streets of Saipan. Things are just cruising along here, and so are we. Josh Brazel is in the house this morning. Great to see you, my man. Not going to be a lot of looking up at the stars tonight, man. It is pea soup up there in the sky. It's too bad, but I know that, you'll get back out there. You'll get that telescope pointed up to the sky and be able to see all kinds of cool things. All right, well, what are some of the big headlines that are happening for the NMI today? You can find out by going to NMINewsService.com. NMINewsService.com is your home for news here in the Marianas. That's where we get all of our good stuff, because that's what we do all day. Oh, by the way, and all night. We were out there going crazy with all the news yesterday. It was nonstop. You can also watch us as we stream live with everything here in the Marianas. You can see we have stuff packed in the comment section about all the things that came out last night, and it was all about these things that came out from the senators trying to get rid of EVS TAP and the Guam CNMI visa waiver program, which would essentially just implode our tourism market. I mean, that's going to be a tough one. We've got all kinds of comments, and we got more locally based stories too as well. You got the mayors in there, and you go in there, you'll find all these stories for yourself. You can watch the video clips, you can watch news, sports, weather, your RFPs, obituaries, your op-eds, you name it. It's all there, NMINewsService.com. All right, so getting back to some of the big stories that we have this morning that we're covering. It's the first and foremost was all the fallout that came out of the letters that came out from those senators yesterday. That really started for us here in the Marianas right after our show wrapped up. And we got that letter from the 3 senators who were talking about, changing the way we do business with tourists out here and taking the advantages that we have away from us with regards to that too. In fact, and it's not like it's like 3 little lightweights. It's 3 folks who, team up together and aren't even from here for sure. In fact, that's one of the things that I found funny when we reached out to them, just finding out like even one of them doesn't even have the Northern Marianas or Guam in their drop-down menu for contact, when you have to tell them where you're from. Well, anyway, the full letter from these 3 senators are available on our website on NMINewsService.com, the full letter and info on them. So you've got Senator Rick Scott, Jim Banks, and Mark Wayne Mullen. And they wrote to the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to try to get rid of EVS TAP and the Guam CNMI visa waiver program. And that is throwing a hand grenade into our tourism market one way or another. But, it was some really good information. We ended up doing an interview yesterday. Troy Torres called us up to ask us about it. And this was, again, like we said, it was a major issue. This is for both of us here, Guam and the CNMI. And especially, that Guam CNMI visa waiver program. The only thing is, it seems like they were dealing with a lot of information that was just outdated. Hanmi said as much. We're going to talk about all the people who responded. We got the folks from the Hotel Association of Northern Mariana Islands, the folks from the Marianas Visitors Authority. We got Congresswoman Kimberly King Hines weighed in. We've got Galvin De Leon Guerrero, the candidate for Congress. He weighed in. We reached out to Congressman Moylan's office. We reached out to each one of the senators for their takes on it as well. And the chamber is, we're waiting for them to get back on it as well. But I know that they're mulling that stuff over. So the main thing is, how is this going to affect us? And when you find out what they were talking about, some of the key points, you can't debate it. I mean, like, some of it is spot on. The only thing is, it was spot on probably like 7 years ago. Today, it's a different story here in the Marianas. We don't have as many tourists coming from China. And you can tell by looking at our streets. They were talking about, the hospitals being overwhelmed with Chinese birth tourism. Not really the fact that we don't really have Chinese coming in here. We have some, but not too many. So, but a few years ago, absolutely, there were, in fact, that's another thing. There were so many Chinese that were here with the birth tourism. It was a major issue. It was something that was being raised to the folks in Congress, but it took like 6 or 7 years before it gained any traction and anybody paid attention to the messages and those warning flares that were fired out here from the Marianas. Now they're seeing it, and they're citing things from 2018. Yeah, that's like 8 years ago, bro. You're a little bit late to this party. You're coming. It's like you're the parents who just showed up from vacation to find your house was a mess from the rager that your kids held while you were on vacation. I'm like, it's too late, man. The party already happened. All this stuff with China and the birth tourism, that happened. Now, the other thing is, it's still happening, but it's such a smaller number. We have firsthand information. We weren't in there telling people, counting out centimeters, but we were definitely given access to people who were in those rooms with people who were giving birth like a month ago from today, less than a month ago now. And when asked why they came to Saipan through their Chinese interpreter, they were told just to have this baby. So that birth tourism thing, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's still a thing. It's just much smaller than it used to be. And this information that talks about the hospital being overwhelmed, I don't know that the hospital was overwhelmed, but I know it was really big business for folks in the clinic business. There were waiting rooms that were packed day in and day out by pregnant mothers. Good business, right? It was great business for them. You would see pregnant women walking around doing laps over by Marianas Business Plaza. Not because they were doing business at the plaza, but because they were staying at the hotel right next door. Hotel, motel, whatever you want to call it. And not just there. That's just what Saipan was like 7 years ago, It was like 7, 8 years ago. But it's a different world today because we don't have it. But I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff that they were talking about. But now they're looking for an answer from Homeland Security and Department of Interior by next week, January 28th. It'll be the 29th for us. That's when they're asking for a decision to be made. You can read this in full on your own. The entire letter is there on our website. Again, that's one of the things that we like the best about all of this, is that with this platform that we have, we also posted it on the social media, so you can see it in its entirety there for yourself. It's one of the benefits that we have of doing this job, that, like in a news story, you just can't tell the whole story in like 2 minutes and provide the letter for people to read it. Whether it's the TV news or the print news, they don't have the whole thing for you to check out. Well, here you do. So, and we also got photos of the people who are involved, so you can see, hooray, look at them. Well, that guy's the biggest in all of them because of the way the website is. But either way, that's it. Rick Scott, Jim Banks, and Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne. Well, that's a cool name, I gotta say. Mark Wayne. I know Bruce Wayne. I don't think they're the same guy. I'm not saying that he's Batman, but he could be related to him. Okay, that's just ridiculous. All right, well, we're just about at 8 o'clock, and when we get there, I want to show you guys the stuff that we've got from our congressmen, all of our congressional representatives from CNMI, from Guam, and from American Samoa, who were at this meeting. I'm just looking to see if I got a reply yet, and unfortunately, I did not. Oh, unless it went to spam. Spam. The stake of the Pacific MVA email, of course, goes to spam. Sorry, MVA. Go to mark that unread. That was yesterday. All right, so let's do this. I do want to bring you guys the updates, but let's go right into these things since we're already here. Let's bring you guys this info from the meeting that was on just this morning. These are the comments that were from the Natural Resource Committee up on Capitol Hill.
Testimony today, we value your feedback and thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I'll recognize Ms. Radewagen for 5 minutes.
Talo Falaba. Thank you, Chairman Stauber and Ranking Member Ansari, for allowing me to participate in today's Energy and Mineral Resources hearing. Thank you to the witnesses for your testimony. The topic of today's hearing is one that stands to have a major impact on my home district of American Samoa. As has been reiterated several times today, the critical minerals issue is also an issue of national security. With one of the highest rates of military enlistment in the nation and being on the front lines of Chinese encroachment in the Pacific, the people of American Samoa understand very well. However, I want to highlight for my colleagues and the other interested parties present the potential cultural and economic impact this type of deep sea activity may have for a small island territory. To the indigenous people of American Samoa, the ocean is not just the backbone of our local economy, it is sacred. I understand that we are discussing federally controlled waters, but as it stands, the people of American Samoa are opposed to deep sea mining in and around the territory. We have yet to be convinced the benefits will outweigh the costs of this occurring so close to our beloved waters. Therefore, if the United States government is going to follow through on this venture, I must insist that we do so with the people of the territories in mind. First and foremost, our fishing stocks and seafloor need to remain intact. Fishing is our lifeblood, and if the technology is not ready or will disrupt the ecosystem, we simply can't proceed. Secondly, if the government does proceed, I ask that we explore and prioritize plans which directly bolster the economies of the communities closest to the mining activity, perhaps through a trust fund for residents or by investing in local infrastructure. This is a tactic we've chosen to combat Chinese influence. We would do well to remember who, where, and what it is we are trying to protect. With the committee's permission, I'd like to enter into the record the comments I submitted for BOEM's request for information and interest on commercial leasing for outer continental shelf minerals offshore American Samoa, which contains further details of my stance on the matter. In it, I echo the governor, all our local leaders, and the people's clear wishes not to mine in and around our islands and to ensure a minimum distance of at least 50 miles, preferably further, as is consistent with other commercial activities.
Entered up without objection.
Mr. Sakara, what timeline do you see for adoption of green tech versus legacy tech across the board, and how do you think yours or similar technologies' potential is to limit irreversible ecosystem damage?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. We've spent the last 5 years developing our technology, but it is not yet at production size. We're working to scale up the technology. We're we have done deep sea testing, but it will take probably about another 3 years before we are ready for commercial deployments. And we are committed to doing an environmental impact assessment and a mining test with independent scientists to actually monitor the impact. And we have an agreement with the German government to do that next year.
Thank you, Mr. Gunasakara. In your testimony, you mentioned that should Impossible Metals receive the contract to extract minerals near American Samoa, you would voluntarily dedicate 1% of the profits to the territory. How would this offer of profit sharing change if the federal government were to provide their own subsidy to the territory based on the lease?
It wouldn't. We encourage the federal government to share revenues and lease fees with coastal communities, as is done in the Gulf of America for offshore oil and gas. That's something that we would like to see, but we have committed, no matter what, we will voluntarily commit 1% of profit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you very much, Chair. Recognizes Ms. King-Hines for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the committee for allowing me to wave on. And I want to first start off by saying, as someone who is living the reality of living in the U.S. Indo-Pacific theater, I recognize the strategic competition we're in with China, and we need to be smart about it. I also believe in innovation, and I believe that we should bolster our domestic supply chains and not be reliant on China. And I also believe that we should have a regulatory system that works. But I also believe in something just as strongly. You know, in places like the Marianas, American Samoa, Guam, we don't get the luxury of being wrong. And any decision impacting our ocean is permanent. There's no fix it, and there's no move it somewhere else. I was born there, I'm gonna die here. I'm just here, you know what I mean, like a military being deployed, right, as a member of Congress. Because the ocean is not just, you know, deeply tied to our identity or culture, especially at a time when our economies are collapsing. The ocean is a refrigerator for many of the people in our community. And Mr. Gunasakara, you know, thank you very much for coming over to the office to have a conversation about, you know, your innovation and your technology, what you're trying to do with it. Because a lot of the confusion, right, with regards to this ongoing conversation is a lack of understanding about the process where everything is at. And as you know, because you have been tracking, when the RFI came out, people in American Samoa, the people in Guam, and the people of the Marianas came out and said, hell nah to sea mining, right? But that's related to their, you know, to their belief that mining companies do not think that, or they believe that you think that you should not go through the NEPA process, right? The full EIS process. And I want to give you the opportunity to go on record and to, you know, to clarify that, please.
We're committed to a NEPA and environmental review. I think it is essential to collect baseline information and then do an environmental impact assessment combined with a mining test to see what the impacts would be. And only then do we have the data. And I think it's very important that communities are involved. And I support the RFI because it starts the dialogue. We're right at the beginning. It's going to take many years before we would potentially be actually mining.
Okay, so I've heard both Mr. Barron and yourself, you know, talk about faster permitting, right, to just get a little bit more clarity with regards to timelines. And so I want to get a little bit more clarity from you. What exactly are you asking the federal government to shorten, remove, or combine, and which environmental or community protection steps are you willing to leave untouched? Because these are, you know, this is where the concern from our communities are coming from, right?
We really want to have community engagement, but we want that to be a high quality engagement.
And what does that mean? What does high quality community engagement mean?
It means that we have real data that we can share. so that there has been data collected in the environment. We can show what the impact of the collecting will be. We don't feel it makes sense to have an RFI when there is no new data. So it's about having a high quality engagement versus having a huge number of engagement where there is no new data.
Okay, so you spoke about your technology minimizing disturbance, and I'm directing my questions to you because you seem to have been the first to respond to some of our community concerns, and thank you for doing that, by the way, right? And so what measurable thresholds can you commit to ensure that, you know, for example, plume size, turbidity, or the footprint, right, is not damaging?
Well, that's the whole reason we designed our technology. It does not have a sediment plume. It doesn't land, it hovers. It doesn't have a riser system. It doesn't have a mid-water plume. We have gone to great lengths to really minimize the environmental impact and the fact that we can selectively collect and avoid all visible life. So that's the whole reason I created the company, and it's what all of our team is focused on. How do we create a collection system that absolutely minimizes the environmental impact?
I'm out of time, so I will yield back, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Chair now recognizes Mr. Moylan for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for allowing me to wave on with my colleagues from the CNMI and American Samoa. As you can see, we're united here today to protect our homeland. And I represent Guam. It's a small island in the Pacific where the ocean is not something we talk about in theory. It is how we live. It feeds our family. It holds our history, and it connects our people to generations before us. So when decisions are made and discussed here in Washington about mining the ocean floor near our islands, I need this committee to understand something very clearly. Those decisions do not feel distant to us. They feel immediate. Now, the people of Guam and the NMI has spoken, American Samoa as well. Our governor has spoken. Our legislature has spoken. Our community have spoken. They are not asking for slow progress. They are asking not to be sacrificed. So right now, the fear is that the decision could be made far away by people who would never see these waters, while island communities are left to live with the consequences forever. Now, we understand the need for minerals, but no national strategy should move forward by putting the burden on the communities that have already carried so much. The ocean around Guam is not an empty space on a map. It is our home. And my message today is simple. If our waters are going to be discussed, then our voices must be heard, not as an afterthought, but as a requirement. And Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask these voices be heard too, and enter into the record several. The Guam Legislature Resolution 13238 passed unanimously and calling for a moratorium on deep sea mining, objecting to BOEM's proposal for RFI for commercial leasing offshore the Marianas, calling for a suspension of the RFI and full assessment of deep sea mining with meaningful territorial consultation.
Without objection.
Also, Mayor's Council of Guam Resolution 2601 adopted unanimously, formally declaring the opposition of any exploration, leasing, development, and commercial deep sea mining in waters adjacent to or affecting Guam until sufficient credible evidence exists and such activity will not harm our islands or people.
Without objection.
And a letter signed by Guam's top elected officials opposing BOM's proposed commercial leasing in the Marianas.
Without objection.
And finally, sir, the coalition letter signed by over 5,000 individuals addressing BOEM that calls for a halt of deep sea mining in American Samoa and the Marianas and engaging in consultation with island communities.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question now is for Mr. Barron. Environmental scientists have stated that seabed collection using the koalida create these sediment plumes, and it can disrupt water columns and pose risk to fisheries and local ecosystem. So the impacts on local Pacific communities and economics is deeply impacted because of this. Now, TMC has claimed that their seabed collectors creates less sediment and water columns and disruption than other collectors. Has this claim been reviewed by independent scientists, sir?
Well, firstly, environmental considerations are very dear to my heart, and it's one of the reasons why we spent so many hundreds of millions of dollars on environmental research programs.
I believe you, but has it been reviewed by independent scientists?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. How about the technologies of AUVs may result in even less disruption? So why has TMC not pursuing the seabed collection in this rather than the AUVs?
Because we need to go with what's commercially viable now, and we encourage innovation, and but at the moment, innovation is innovative designs like Oliver's are many, many years away, and we're looking at commercial production next year.
Thank you very much. Running close to time, I just want to close by saying, Mr. Chairman, since the President's executive order expediting deep-sea mining, we published an interest in American Samoa and CNMI have been expressed. My constituents have been frustrated and angered by the apparent lack of territorial consultation and lack of information being given to our island. I would like to invite the members on this subcommittee to join me on Guam and to speak with my constituents about the deep sea mining and all the issues affecting us. So we have the people of Guam. We're not against this. We are against the actions taken without consultation or consent, and the federal actions that happen to us instead of with us. So the people of Guam are simply asking Washington to not only hear us, but listen to us as well, even when it is not the answer the federal government is looking for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Moreland. The chair now recognizes.
All right, sorry about that. Hold on.
For 5 minutes.
We'll get back to that in a second. We'll let them finish that. But I wanted to play that specific section of the whole thing because that highlights the comments from our Congresswoman, the Congresswoman from American Samoa, and our congressman from Guam, their specific takes on it. And it's reasonable. You know, I love Amada's thing where she basically said, hey, we don't want this. And 1% is not enough. You guys haven't yet let us know about deep sea mining's benefit versus the potential cost to us. They're not talking about like how much it's going to cost them to make profit. They're talking about the potential environmental risk and the cost of their fishing stocks and all that other stuff. But the other part is that she talked about, hey, we appreciate the security, the national security interest, and the need for these metals to be harvested and all of that, and because of national security. But when we're talking about national security, it's important to keep in mind what and who we're trying to protect. Damn, that was heavy. That was really good. I mean, that was really good. I like Jim Moylan there at the end, Congressman Moylan, sorry. Not like we're pals and besties hanging out. But what I like about his take on all of this as well was that he's like, hey, we're not against it. We're against the notion that we are not being consulted. We are not part of this program, not part of this process. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I can hear you already, granolas. Like, no, we just don't want it. I got it. I know. But we've heard you. I get it totally with you. But what he's saying is that everybody else is saying, hey, it's not, we just don't have enough info on this stuff yet. You're going to try to push this kind of stuff forward, and you're leaving us in the dark. And that's not awesome. And we're not part of the process, and we live out here. And then you've got our congresswoman saying the same thing. He's like, hey, this is not like a casual adventure for us. This is where we live. We're here all the time. And you heard from us, we're not a big fan of this. But you hear them make these comments that say, look, if you're going to go forward with this anyway, then this. Not a bad idea. It's not a terrible approach. I think it's still a way for us to start moving forward on all of this. But they ask real questions like, hey, how would this work? Is there any economic benefit that would actually come to us out here? You're saying that there's no industry for the island.
necessarily. Right now, they were talking about, and you got to hear the rest of the testimony. We're going to play some more too. They talk about where's this stuff going to be done? Where would this work be performed? And they say that, hey, it's going to be in Japan or this other place in Korea. With an eye, I think it sounds like they're starting to play the song that they know the folks in the mainland would want to hear, is that we would like to do this in the mainland, and we want you to build up a stockpile first so that the demand is there. Maybe. But how does that work for Guam? And we heard the same thing, too, with this. They talked about, you didn't hear this other part yet, which we'll post the whole thing in its entirety. But they talked about that, exactly that 1%. They said, hey, you know, how much did you talk about? It's 1%. And this is specifically, we'll go back earlier in the video so you can see it. It's a congresswoman from Arizona who talks about it. She talks about the effect that mining's had on tribal villages and folks, the indigenous folks in the mainland. But she started getting at the 1% part. You know, what's the amount that you're willing to do? You know, 1%. Have you done any of this formally? No, but we're willing to formalize it. Okay, but what they said specifically, you hear it in the testimony, again, not in this little clip necessarily, but when you hear Gunasekara talk about it, he says, but we encourage the territories to form an agreement with the mainland U.S. akin to what they do with the mineral rights for oil. And that's a significant amount. It's a lot more than 1%. But they're saying that would be, they're already giving X amount to the United States of what they harvest. But they're saying that we'll give an extra 1%. So it's not like they're just like, yeah, you guys, here's 1%. No, they're like, hey, we'll give you an extra %. But where you really could go, and they should almost donate the legal fees from their team of lawyers. Say, hey, go after the mainland. They're the ones who are getting the lion's share of this stuff. Get a piece of what they got, just like the oil folks. Yep. Ooh, let's see what's zipping past this. Yeah, police or ambulance. All right, let's get some of these answers real quick. Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. China currently holds the most exploratory leases issued by the International Seabed Authority, and of the 22 exploratory leases granted for 15-year terms, China holds 5, the most of any country, while Russia holds 2. That means nearly 30% of current exploration leases are controlled by our adversaries. I serve on the House Armed Services Committee. This is pretty important to me, and it is certainly important to our country. Meanwhile, the United States is already heavily reliant on China for the extraction, processing, and refinement of critical minerals. According to the U.S. Geological Survey's 2025 Mineral Commodities Report, the United States is more than 50% net import reliant for non-fuel mineral commodities, and China is the largest supplier, providing 21 minerals. To reduce our dependence on foreign adversaries, the Trump administration is committed to restarting domestic mining and cutting back regulatory burdens that have effectively shut down hard rock mining in the United States. Additionally, the administration signed the executive order to unleash offshore mineral exploration and extraction. Given that polymetallic nodules on the ocean floor contain high concentrations of key critical minerals, we have to consider offshore extraction as part of a comprehensive strategy to reduce reliance on China. Mr. Barone, I raised concerns in our last hearing over the amount of exploration leases China holds. Based on your testimony, the United States seems to be catching up. From your perspective, what are some of the advantages the United States have in extracting seabed minerals?
Well, the first one is a regulatory environment. As I mentioned, China signed the Treaty of UNCLOS, and so they are bound by the rules that are yet to be established by the International Seabed Authority. The United States were a persistent objector and did not want to participate in that treaty, and so they retain their right to those critical minerals on the seafloor, and in 1980 put in place the legislation, DSHMRA, that govern both exploration and commercial recovery activities. So permitting, regulatory certainty is the first thing. And then, of course, it's an awakening to the fact that the American economy imports 100% of its nickel, its cobalt, its manganese, and 50% of its copper. And that needs to change. And so I think regulatory certainty, but an awakening to the reality of the dire situation and the high dependence that America has on some of its adversaries.
Yeah. Another concern with China's dominance in this area is their ability to dump minerals onto markets to undermine domestic mining projects. A cobalt mine scheduled to open in Idaho experienced this firsthand. It was forced to delay operations, and China dumped cobalt onto the market. Is this a concern for the metals company? And if so, are there steps the United States can take to help insulate domestic producers from China's deceptive marketing practices?
I think markets work themselves out, and when there is no domestic supply, then it's hard to protect. When there is domestic supply, then it's easier to protect. And funny enough, when we look at processing on USA soil, it's actually cheaper to refine and process those materials here than in China, or they're in Indonesia, or in Japan. The reason? Available, abundant energy. Energy is by far the biggest cost input. So America has natural advantage, and I think those other market factors can work their way through.
Yeah. I'd like to yield the remaining time to Mr. Gosar, if I could.
Thank the gentleman from Colorado. You know what I see a lot here is, I have a little saying, it's called trust is a series of promises kept. So I see the American Samoa, the Marianas Islands, and I think we really got to keep our promise to them. But with that, I want to come back to technology, okay? I think all of you, particularly Mr. Gunsaker and Mr. Barron, are really intent about technology. This is what I hold in my hand. And if we can make these processes easier, so for example, like someone brought up lithium, was it Mr. Barron? Where Schlumberger now, a seismic company, has now morphed into this concentration of lithium, and they use abundant amounts of water. Well, someone would say that it'd be a deterrent in Arizona. No, it's a blessing. We have one large aquifer, or big lake under the city of Buckeye, and by utilizing that, they're cleaning the water. When they add a filter that's made out of basalt, they can give you tap water. That's what we have to get back to, is using all these aspects along with our environmental laws and innovation to make it all work. So I yield back.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the witnesses for their valuable testimony and the members for their questions.
And that's really just about how they wrap up the whole thing. We're going to post the whole thing on our main page in just a little bit. Well, I mean, after the show. We've already got the story written up to post and all this other stuff. First of all, let's not skip over a less serious point that I thought was just funny, and that is the person on the dais. Hold on, I'm fast forward. This guy. If we elect Frank Camacho to Congress, I want his placard to say Mr. Crank also. I mean, come on. That is the all-time, because we want our senators and representatives to be Shinarp up there on Capitol Hill. That is the best. He should have this. I don't know if Frank the Crank has a desk for his shop or for his home and office, but he needs one of those right there. He needs that. He needs to have something that says Mr. Crank, which is outstanding. All right, let's get back to serious stuff now. All of the folks who were speaking throughout the whole hearing, they had a lot of great information. There's going to be some folks who are really in favor of what they had to say. There's going to be some folks who are against what they had to say. There's some people who just don't want it, and that's it. You can't have a conversation with them, period, right? My people who I like to speak with are the people who are dead set against it too, but at least still want to have a conversation or are willing to entertain it. The people who just cross their arms and close their eyes and just go, no. Those are the tough ones. Those are the tough ones to hear from. Anyway, that's what we got on this issue from these folks today. Hold on, let me just make sure. All right, cool. Looking to get some feedback on some of these things, and this is great. Just watching progress happen is pretty cool for us. Anyhow, we're going to try to get the CEO from the metals company to come on as well. We already had the CEO from Impossible Metals join us. But, you know, the metals company, when I'm looking at their website right now, and, you know, when you see what they've got, it's so much different than what we're looking at when we're checking out the Impossible Metals folks. The Impossible Metals folks talk about the picking of the stuff that it doesn't even hit the bottom. They just grab the nodules. They leave a bunch behind. And you can hear the congressmen who are in favor. The metals company, that's what you're looking at right here. You're watching at these guys operate these massive vehicles that have treads on them. They're crawling on the surface, right? And you're seeing what they're harvesting there. You're seeing how they sort them out. And this is the stuff that they're talking about with that destruction stuff that everybody's talking about. This is not what's being proposed in our water, but this is the thing that people are worried about from the metals company in particular, because it does show that where they're harvesting and they're using massive tracked vehicles that could create big plumes and really just drag so much, have such a massive impact on the ocean floor. Again, this is not what the guys in our area are talking about, but this is something that's talked about. So I can completely understand why this process is more problematic. It's different than the other one. Nobody wants to see actual destruction to the seabed or anything like that. At least nobody out here who has a heart anyway, or likes our environment and our fish and likes to eat those fish. But this is the process. It looks easier and it looks like they can scoop up way more, but it looks like it's like that, you know, when they just clear cut forests. That's what this kind of stuff looks like. So we're going to try to get them on here to talk about all this stuff too, because I am interested in hearing from them. So maybe they could clear it up. Metals company, again, they're not the ones who put in the big bid for what's happening out here, but they did put in bids for things. And there's all kinds of stories coming out all over the place. In fact, here's one from Marine Technology News. I'm not very familiar with this outlet, but I'm sure it is like a business-related outlet here. It says metals company seeks international deep sea mining permit under a new process, and this is all here. And they're talking about the folks who are involved. Also, Jared Barron, the CEO, that's the guy who you saw on that video earlier. So, and this is they pulled the story from Reuters as well. So, I mean, we're going to try to get them on the show so we can talk to them and ask them, hey, what are your intentions with our daughter, the water, and go from there. All right. Yeah, now is a great time for a break, so we're going to do that. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hey, bro, can I grab your bush?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Right on. Thanks, bro. Hey, bro, can I grab your bush too?
Sure, bro. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Now I can grab my own bush. Saipan, it's time to grab your bush. Pick up a 12-pack of ice-cold Bush, and you're in for more than just a refreshing beer. Every 12-pack gives you a chance to win exclusive Bush gear and more. So don't wait. Swing by your favorite store, grab your Bush, and join the fun. Because here in Saipan, the best moments are even better with Bush. Grab your Bush today.
Shiny smiles all around, where happiness is found. It's the little things that make it true. Shiny smiles start with
I'm Ben Thomas. After a meeting with President Trump in Davos, Switzerland, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced 2 days of trilateral meetings starting tomorrow involving the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia. Karen Shamas reports earlier in the day, Zelensky had a harsh critique for his European backers.
One of the biggest problems in today's Europe, though it's not often talked about, is the mindset. Some European leaders are from Europe, but not always for Europe. And Europe still feels more like a geography, history, a tradition, not a real political force, not a great power.
Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Zelensky compared European nations' slow response to America's push for peace. Despite European support, internal disagreements and slow responses have frustrated Kyiv. He also stressed the need for Western weaponry to defeat Russia as the war persists. I'm Karen Shamas.
In Minnesota, 3 people have been arrested over an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a church service Sunday. In Washington, former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith defended his investigations of President Trump at a public congressional hearing.
President Trump was charged because the evidence established that he willfully broke the law, the very laws he took an oath to uphold. Grand juries in 2 separate districts reached this conclusion based on his actions, as alleged in the indictments they returned.
And he insisted,
if asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican.
Consumer spending boosted third-quarter economic growth to 4.4%. The Fed's preferred inflation gauge ticked up to 2.8% in November over a year earlier, and stocks closed higher on Wall Street. This is AP News. The Oscar nominations are out. Lisa Dwyer has the story.
As actress Danielle Brooks and actor Louis Pullman announced this year's Oscar nominees, one thing became clear. It would be a salute to the movie Sinners. Best Original Screenplay.
And Sinners, written by Ryan Coogler.
Editing.
And Sinners.
Cinematography.
Sinners.
Actor in a leading role.
Michael B. Jordan in Sinners.
Best Picture.
Sinners.
In all, Ryan Coogler's blue-steeped vampire epic Sinners led with 16 nominations, setting a record for the most in Oscar history. The father-daughter revolutionary saga, one battle after another, the favorite coming into the nominations, trailed with 13 nominations. Conan O'Brien returns to host the Oscars, which airs March 15th. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
Fox Sports Update.
Sean McDermott was fired as head coach of the Bills on Monday, despite a ton of success over his 9 seasons in Buffalo. In a lengthy press conference on Wednesday, team owner Terry Pegula said he made the decision to move on from McDermott in the locker room after Buffalo's divisional playoff loss to the Broncos over the weekend.
If I can take you into that locker room, I felt like we hit the proverbial playoff wall year after year.
That was courtesy of the Bills, as Pegula said he made the call in part on seeing how distraught the players were after the loss, including quarterback Josh Allen. Under McDermott, the Bills made the playoffs in each of the last 7 years, but failed to advance past the AFC Championship game. Pegula shared the podium on Wednesday with general manager Brandon Beane, who was asked about the team's failure to improve the wide receiver room, as well as the performance of second-year wideout Keon Coleman. Before Beane could answer, Pegula...
This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice.
Coleman, a second-round pick in the 2024 draft, has disappointed, getting disciplined by the team in November and was a healthy scratch for 4 games this season. Heading over to the Diamond, Cody Bellinger is remaining with the Yankees on a 5-year, $162.5 million contract that, according to multiple reports, Bellinger can opt out after the 2027 and 2028 seasons, and he gets a $20 million signing bonus. Bellinger, a 2-time All-Star and former National League MVP, was acquired by the Yankees from the Cubs prior to last season and went on to hit 29 home runs with 98 RBIs. At Yankee Stadium, a ballpark designed for left-handed hitters, Bellinger hit .302 with 18 homers and 55 runs batted in. You can listen and follow the Fox Sports Podcast at foxsports.com or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Joe Morgan.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Alarm clock bark, sky still gray, radio clicks on, static haze. Good morning, Marianas, in my face, Brad yelling, wake up, Saipan, no escape. Coffee burns my lip, he laughs in my kitchen, talks like he knows every bruise that I am in. Good morning, Marianas, rise up, Saipan, hearts on the harbor, headlines in his hand. Good morning, Marianas, live from the reef to the ridge, Brad with the weather, and a dare on the bridge. Traffic on Beach Road, kids half dressed. He jokes about rain and unpaid rent.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. Hey, in fact, we can get you back on the normal screen here. Bam. I want to talk about this a little bit. This is something that is happening, and it is happening tomorrow. No, it's tonight. You're kidding. 5 o'clock tonight at Hopwood Junior High School. It's Family Fun Night. It is going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't done this before, you have missed out. It's going to be a festival for fun for the whole family, celebrating 64 years of public education over there at Hopwood Junior High School over there in Chelmpiao. You can't miss it. They've got all kinds of games. They got a talent show, food, drinks, all kinds of stuff. And again, it's going to be a lot of fun, and you don't want to miss it. We got a message from the folks over at Hopwood, and they're like, here's the message specifically. It said, hey, oh no, this is something else. This is another message. But they did send us a message asking us to get in and talk about this a little bit. So I'm excited about it. By the way, you guys, if you want me to talk about your events that you have going on, like these kind of things, send it to the NMI News Service. If you send it to my personal, it's funny. If you send it to my personal Facebook Messenger, stuff like that, I'm so rarely on it because I'm logged into the work stuff all the time. So I miss out on this stuff. Anyway, this is a big deal. We're going to post this on the social media channels. We're going to post it on the website just so that as many people can see it as possible. But that's the big heads up, so that you know. Message me personally on WhatsApp if you want. If you message me through the show phone, that works great. If you send it through any of the Northern Mariana Islands News Service, NMI News Service, you know, you could do it. In fact, even on our website, there's a contact us where you can give us everything. You could add documents and all that other stuff. So your flyers, you name it, everything's available for you to do that. There is a story that we're going to start chasing, by the way, because one of you did reach out to us about this. And this one isn't particular. This one doesn't involve what we're talking about with Hopwood. But how often have you gone to a store and got to the register and go to use your debit card, not credit card, and they said, sorry, ma'am, sorry, sir, your minimum is $10. Or it's for debit is a minimum of $5. If you're having this happen to you now, send me your info and explain it. We're going around, we're going to be going to the different stores and doing this. It's going to be part of a public education campaign, but it's really going to be about a story that we're doing. Because the thing is that you should not be asked to spend a minimum amount if you have a debit card. If you have a credit card, that's different. What's the difference between a debit and credit card? Well, one is linked directly to your bank account. The other one is like a line of credit from the bank. So if you're using your debit card, you know, where you put in your PIN and everything, you should not be asked to make a minimum purchase. Period. Now, some stores don't let you use it as the debit card. They make you use it as a credit card transaction. Well, that's on them. But if you're using it as a debit transaction, there's no minimum. We're going to get you more info on that. We've already been speaking with folks from our local legislature who are going to help, put more focus on this and get that out. We're going to be working with the Attorney General's office to help get that message out to everybody too. But it's funny because a lot of people have not really learned about this stuff and at the stores. And, you know, to be fair, though, the stores that we've gone to where we raised this issue and we have showed them the memo that came out from the Attorney General's office, they changed their policy right there, and they stopped. And these are places I frequent often, and they have not put that sign up anymore. Just for credit card purchases, though. It says, Connie Park Plaza says some store they give a minimum of $5. Well, they can. It's not for a debit, not for a debit. And Connie, somebody wrote a letter to us saying that there was a $5 minimum as well. They said their total came to $4.97, and they tried to pay with their debit card, and they said they were told no. We're not talking about who the store is right now, because I don't want to just bring wrath upon them. But we are going to be doing this in a positive way of letting them know what the real rules are. And that is coming also from the legislature and the Attorney General's office. So that is going to be something that's yeah, Connie, I know. I've seen it. I've experienced it, and I have had to tell them. And I'll show them that. We're going to be doing this whole story on it, and we're going to get you guys the memo and everything that's out there, you know, with the Attorney General's opinion on it. And it's not something that just came out this year. This has been going on for a while. Yeah, Cheryl, I know. $5 minimum. There's so many of them that do that, but that's not the case. They can only give a minimum for credit card purchases, not debit card purchases. Now, again, the other part is if they only let you use your debit card as a credit card, where you don't put in your PIN, they could still do that fee. But this is a debit card. I know, but we don't use debit transactions. You have to use it as a credit card. Then they can still charge you minimum. But if you're going to be using your debit card, putting in your PIN and all that stuff, there's no minimum. I know, and I'm telling you, you guys aren't the only ones. And I want to say thank you to the person who asked to be anonymous. who sent their message. And I'm thankful that people bring these things up. This is how we can use this platform in a good way, another productive way. So anyway, we're going to be going around to different stores. Connie says, so I never did go back to that store anymore. Yeah. Well, you know, if they think they are doing the right thing, you know, if they think they're able to do it, that's one thing. But if they know that that's the rule and they try to go around it after knowing about it, then you could bring the wrath of the Congress, of our local legislature, and our Attorney General's office upon them. Said, thank you because I only have $4. Yeah, I'm telling you. Caleb, you and me both, buddy. Still $1 million shy of being a millionaire. All right. Yeah, and that's what we're going to be doing. Oh, is this good for Monday? Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So that's confirmation for Monday morning. We're going to have Tinian Mayor Edwin Aldon is going to be on the show with us. Now, he'll be in Tinian, and we will be live, but we're going to have our first video meeting with the mayor of Tinian. How awesome is that? I can't wait. I'll send them a video link. All right. Okay. Okay, so we're going to send this. I want to say thanks to Bernie from the mayor's office. We're going to be talking about Pika Fest. That's going to be happening over there in Tinian. Really excited about that because it's great every year, and I can't wait to hear from the mayor what's coming next. We already know that there's a whole bunch going on for the Rhoda Marathon, all the promos that they have going on right now, and hopefully we can get them on here. I can't believe it. You're already, we had Star Marianas on the other day and the Rhoda Mayor talking about everything that's happening, the deals that they have going on and everything. Really exciting stuff. But we'll try to get this. Yes, there we go. Very cool. All right. Thank you, Bernie, over there in Tinian. Thank you so much. So nice and accommodating. I'm very excited about this, to have the mayor on there. All right. Well, it is 8:51 in the morning, and give you a little update on what's going on with weather here in the Marianas. Traffic is moving around just fine. All the high schools getting ready to get started today. 82 degrees out here at the Saipan International Airport. Humidity's at 90% out there. We're going to be, it looks nice and bright out there today, but we're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms. Partly sunny sky. Well, it's the part right now. And high near 86 today. Wind's going to be coming out of the south-southeast. Gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. 30% chance of rain throughout the day. That's going to pick up greatly tomorrow. Bigly. We're looking at a 50% chance of rain tomorrow. So Saturday might be a little gloomy, but it's not too bad. Louisa says, friendly reminder about the first aid training and stats training tomorrow. Yeah, there's a lot going on for everything tomorrow. One second. Excuse me. The first aid training, we posted that up there with you guys. Bam. Here, let's show you guys on the screen here. In case you guys missed it the other day. Ooh. Woo. That's it. That's the basic first aid training. That's going to be going on tomorrow in the morning, Saturday at 9:30. Oh, I can't. It's so small I can't even see it. Again, it's not something you want to hear in a first date. But let's see, where is it? Our download folder is where I've got it. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Yep. Always nice to be able to zoom in for old eyes. So it's going to be at Olei Elementary School cafeteria tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's basic first aid training. It's 20 people can register. There's only 20. We're talking about recognizing, attending, and acting on basic injuries, understanding types of bleeding and how to control it, and recognizing concussions, broken bones, dislocation, fractures, and sprains. You can register if you haven't already, saipanlittleleague@gmail.com, or you can hit that QR code Yeah, you got it. You did get it. It is Bigley. And you can get that QR code or send them an email, and you can get in on that. You don't want to miss out. What's the other one? The stats training. Is that tomorrow also? That's a real big deal, too. If you want to be cool like Louisa and know about baseball stats and all that, let me make sure that I got that on the screen for you now, too. It might be too much too fast. Boom. It is. It's a little too big. There you go. Baseball stats training. That's going to be tomorrow as well, but that's going to be in the afternoon from 2 to 3. You're going to learn from Ray Palacios, a tradition steeped with time from his family that's gone all the way back to when the military was still here at, back in the 1900s, we could say now. As the kids say, at the Attic Gym conference room. Ray Palacios and Ray Humo are going to teach you how to do the baseball stats. Tomorrow you can get the QR code there as well. Aw, shucks, Louisa. Yep. All right, well, that's just about what we've got for you today. We did get you with news. We got you with sports. We got you with weather. You got everything that's going on. Remember, Hopwood is happening tonight also for their family fun day. And boy, oh boy, we've got stories to pop up here today. We're going to do more follow-up on the fallout from the senators. We're going to have, we should get our comments from the chamber coming at some point today as well, and for their weigh-in on that whole topic. And then we're going to talk about the stuff that we were just watching on the big screen earlier today about the Natural Resources Committee with the 3 congressmen from our region. So good stuff. And if you've got more things for us, send them to us. You can send it to us go to the nminewsservice.com. We have a comment section on there built just for you. And we hope you actually use it. That will help us out. So hold on. By the way, if you haven't already, please like our page and like this show and put a like on the old YouTube as well. But if you go to, here, let's share it so you guys can see this. When you go to the website, if you want to learn how to send stuff to us, you could do it anonymously too, so it's really easy if you're worried about it. But here, I'm going to have to take myself off of this because I think I'm covering up the important part that I want to show you. Pew! There we go. If you look up there, you can see contact right here. I'm circling it up at the top. You just click on that. It's going to take you to a page where you can send us everything you ever wanted to let us know. You can let us know your name. Your name could be Louisa Cabrera. It could be anything you want. And then your email and your phone number. And let us know what kind of stuff. Is it breaking news, photo submission? It might not be, it could be other, whatever it happens to be. Send it here and you can add stuff in there. You can attach a file. Maybe it's an audio file that you've got, some kind of maybe you want to sing us a song, whatever it happens to be. You can send it to us there and it'll go right to us and we'll be able to get it and do some stuff with it. All right, well, we are going to do some stuff with the rest of our day, and we are glad that we got our day started with you. Thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, if you see any bad things happening out there in the community and you want to stay anonymous, if we're not your choice, or if you don't want to call the police because you're worried that, they're going to know who I am, you can call Crime Stoppers. The number is 234-7272. You can check them out, nmicrimestoppers.net, and you can submit that. Remember, any information that leads to an arrest, you can get paid up to $1,000. That's a lot of empanadas. You could end up doing that, and they are great. All right, well, that's what we got for you today, guys. We'll be back. Just keep watching the website. Keep watching our social media. Thanks for supporting us. And, we're going to continue doing our best to try and be cool for you guys, all right? That's what we've got. Have a great day, and we will see you again tomorrow morning. No, I just lied. We'll see you again Monday morning. Oh, that's it. that's one more thing I got to tell you. Thank you, Eric, as your reminder. He wants to remind us that on Monday, if you're a veteran, get your butt down to the CNMI Veterans Affairs office on Capitol Hill, because that's where you can get your voucher so you can get your laptop, free laptop. Now, it's the voucher. You're not actually going to walk out with your laptop on Monday, but you're going to get your voucher, and then in February, they're going to be distributing them. Pretty cool, right? All you have to do is be a veteran. Now, you can't just walk up there and say, hey, I'm a veteran. You got to make sure you're registered with the VA here locally. You got to bring, if they don't have it already, you want to make sure they've got your DD 214 to prove you're a veteran, or your Veterans Health ID card to prove you're a veteran, your actual veteran ID, or if you've got one, if you're still active, bring that as well. But you should definitely bring whatever you need to prove yourself as a veteran on Monday. Don't miss out. We're going to be there outside. We're going to have a tent, so if it rains and there's a bunch of people waiting, you guys can hang out under the tent with us. The Project Buddy Check 670 and the Veteran of Foreign Wars Saipan Post 3457. We have a tent and tables for that on Monday morning. Probably going to set it up on Sunday night. So for our show tomorrow, or on Monday, we won't be in the studio. We're going to be up on Capitol Hill and bringing that stuff to you. Maybe we'll get some veterans to join us as well, but that's what that whole thing is going to be about. So that's Monday. What happens Tuesday? Who knows? What's going to happen over the weekend? Who knows? It's going to be great. Well, that's it. Now we're really going to go. Thanks for joining us today, all of you guys. Louisa says, anyone can use my name as long as you pay my CUC bill. That is great. I love it. All right. All of you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments on YouTube, on Facebook, and on WhatsApp. You guys, it's great to see all of you. We'll see you on Monday morning again. If you got any show ideas, drop us a line. You got calls, drop us a line. All right, take care. We'll see you soon.
Hey, bro, can I grab your bush?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Right on. Thanks, bro. Hey, bro, can I grab your bush too?
Sure, bro. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Now I can grab my own bush. Saipan, it's time to grab your bush. Pick up a 12-pack of ice-cold bush, and you're in for more than just a refreshing beer. Every 12-pack gives you a chance to win exclusive bush gear and more. So don't wait. Swing by your favorite store, grab your bush, and join the fun. Because here in Saipan, the best moments are even better with Bush. Grab your bush today.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad. And then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls. And you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.